RamiX back with another video because I'll enjoy today's video. As you can see by the title, or as the title suggests, this is What If Naruto Had an Ancient Dojutsu Part 9 to my knowledge. Part 9. And soon I expect to be finishing this, maybe by part 10, maybe by part 11. I guess we'll just see how long this part comes out to be, as we'll just go along with the story. But in the last part, we basically left off with everybody getting Naruto. By that I mean Naruto just faced off with Deidara. Naruto was very tired. He was about to pass out, like in front of Team 7, like he was falling to the ground. And then Gaara basically saved him from falling with his sand, as Naruto is currently not passed out. Now I want to explain where he is. He's not, well, just sleeping, whatever you want to call it, but he's actually in his subconscious, where Kurama, or the Nine-Tails Beast, Nine Tails, or whatever you want to call it, lives, right? And he is now talking to the Nine Tails, and we shall now fully begin the story. The Nine Tails would speak. It has been a long time since we've met face to face like this, don't you think, Naruto? Naruto would nod, as it has been a pretty long time. Basically, their conversation would end with Kurama signifying his bond with Naruto. Naruto now had access to the full KCM. This is important. Why? Well, Naruto's going to be using KCM against a certain foe. Now, you may be asking how Naruto could go from, say, 4 to 5 tails of the Nine Tails' chakra to about something more like all 9. Well, it's pretty simple. The Nine Tails and Naruto made a deal. And what deal, you may be asking? Well, it's pretty simple, but not simple at the same time. So the deal goes as follows. Naruto and Sasuke take out the Akatsuki. Now, this is a somewhat straightforward idea, but, yeah. And that was basically the deal. They take out the Akatsuki. Naruto is lended, the Nine Tails chakra to be able to do it. And, yeah. Though, since they do not have perfect sync, he cannot access KCM2, at least not yet. As Naruto would follow along with this, he would keep this in the back of his head, as he wanted to first return to the village before he put out any plan to even start to attack the Akatsuki, as he had defeated one of its members, and 2 of its members had been taken down by the Leaf Village, one by him and one by Sakura, Chio, etc., right? But with that being said, Naruto, Team 7, and everybody else, if you will, would basically just return to the Leaf Village. Gaara would return to the Sand Village, thanking Naruto for everything he had done for him, and defeating the person who had caused so much harm to the Sand Village. As Deidara's attack did do some damage to the Sand Village, but not too much, of course, because Gaara blocked it. Anyhow, Naruto, as he returned, would basically get Sasuke alone and would ask him to help him defeat the Akatsuki. Sasuke would not object to this. He wanted to kill Itachi. Itachi's in the Akatsuki. It's kind of like a win-win scenario. He gets to help out his best friend, and really, there was no going wrong with it, at least in Sasuke's mind. So he, accepted with ease. Not only that, but he felt he was actually strong enough to face Itachi and maybe all the other members of the Akatsuki. He had a lot of stuff. He had, his Mangekyo abilities, like augmenting reality, and the ability to basically bring anything out of existence, right? Not only that, but he had several other abilities, as well as the fact that, he was just so much stronger than his, previous counterpart, if you will, or his normal counterpart. But with that being said, Naruto also felt he was ready. Like, Naruto had a lot of abilities. He had advanced perception, as well as Sasuke having the same. The ability to slightly see into the future, the Byakugan's Gentle Fist, the Byakugan's Rotation, advanced Genjutsu on par with the Ketsuryagon and Rinnegan. Like, there was no going wrong, really, with his skill, right? So he was very powerful. But with that being said, they needed to plan out their Akatsuki attack / invasion, whatever you want to call it. So first they needed to figure out where the Akatsuki was. So, they had a plan. Basically, they would cause some trouble with some transformed versions of them. So some clones of theirs would transform into random people, right? And then they would wear Akatsuki robes and start causing trouble. The Akatsuki would eventually catch on, seeing that they're wearing, the standard Akatsuki robe, and would, basically confront the scandal, if you will, or the copycats, whatever you want to call them, that being Naruto and Sasuke's clones. And basically, they would express how they wanted to join the Akatsuki. The Akatsuki would let them in. They would figure out what the Akatsuki's base is, and it would work like that. And it would work. This would be pretty easy to do, and the Akatsuki would fairly quickly take notice and would actually let them into the Akatsuki, as we have seen, pretty weak people, to say the least, join the Akatsuki. They're usually like henchmen and things of the sort, but they're still in the Akatsuki, nevertheless. And they would figure out that in a few weeks to a month, all the Akatsuki members would be gathering in one spot. This was great information for Sasuke and Naruto, so that they would hone their skills for about 3 months and 4 days. Now, this is very important for them to hone all of their skills, because they were basically able to increase all of their skill entirely. This also gave Naruto himself enough time to be able to use KCM2 and actually gain access to it, which boosted his power tremendously and put him leagues above where Sasuke is right now, at least in terms of speed and physical strength. Though Sasuke and Naruto were able to be, even if Sasuke used his Mangekyo abilities to its fullest, like being able to augment reality, for instance. But with that being said, they needed 3 extra days to prepare themselves and to prepare their body. Basically, what they would do is they would, meditate, things of the sort, and they would, make sure that they were rested up enough to where they had no, sores or pain in their body, anything like that, right? Not only that, but they needed 1 whole day to gather weapons. A month had now passed, and their clones were able to relay to them that the Akatsuki, I guess you could say, formation / gathering had been formed, and they had been, communicating with one another in person as, they speak. Naruto and Sasuke would smirk as they would tell Tsunade that they are leaving the village. Tsunade would immediately try to stop them, but it was, no use, to say the least. They had already basically just disappeared. And by that I mean they kind of set themselves aflame. You see, maybe you do, maybe you don't understand what I'm talking about, but in an anime episode, in the episode where Orochimaru, Kabuto, and Sasuke showed up, and Sasuke basically just decimated Team 7. They kind of used this technique where they just, set their bodies aflame, kind of, and they just disappeared, and that's basically what Naruto and Sasuke are using here. And it would allow them to get right in front of the entrance where the Akatsuki meetup would be taking place. Naruto and Sasuke would then get ready, as they would, let in a big breath of air, and then breathe it out. They were ready to face off against the Akatsuki, and they had already figured out which Akatsuki members were weak and which Akatsuki members were strong, to say the least. They knew that people like Itachi, people like, Toby, Pain, etc., were very strong, but they also know who was weak, like Hidan. People like, some of the other Akatsuki members, like even Kisame. Kisame is not too powerful without his blade, though he's a bit of an exception because he is interesting, to say the least. But that being said, they knew which Akatsuki members ranked above each other, and they were prepared to fight them. Now, the Akatsuki does not have 10 members right now. They only have about, 8-ish. Due to the fact that Sasori and Deidara have both been taken out, as well as Juzo has been taken out previously by the 3rd Mizukage. So that leaves about, including Kisame, Itachi, Pain, Kakuzu, Konan, Hidan, and no Orochimaru because Orochimaru's dead. That's 6 Akatsuki members who are currently alive and in the Akatsuki group. So, they had 6 people to deal with. Naruto would immediately enter the Akatsuki hideout as he looked around, basically feeling out his senses and everything, to say the least. So, before I fully get into this fight with Naruto, Sasuke, and the Akatsuki, I want to first address something. On the day of recording, it is September 11th, and if you don't know why that is important, well, it's because it is Patriot Day. Now, I'm not from the United States. Heck, I'm not even American, but I do know that this day is a thing. It's basically just to, I guess you could say, commemorate the fallen, if that makes sense, or commemorate them and just basically remember them and honor them in a way that is fit, right? Because 9/11 was a bad day, to say the least. I'm not gonna talk about it that much on here, especially because I don't want to make anybody feel that kind of way. But with that being said, if you want to do your own research on it, you can. But I'm just gonna pause for 10 seconds real quick. And with that, I feel I have given my own honor. I have no real connection to the people who, suffered on that day. Only reason why I really knew about it was because my mom worked in the building beside, the building that was hit, if you will. But besides that, we can now fully get back into the fight, if you will. Yeah. Naruto would then look in front of him. There stood the Akatsuki. Pain. Nagato, or Pain, I guess you could say, Nagato, whatever you want to call him, same thing, at least in my books. Konan, Hidan, even the likes of Kakuzu, Kisame, Zetsu, they all stood in front of Naruto. Naruto would take in a breath of, well, I guess you could say relief. Relief that his shadow clone and Sasuke's shadow clone surveyed them the right information, but this breath of air was also one of confidence. He was ready to fight against a force that may be greater than him himself. Naruto would then ready himself for battle against the Akatsuki, as he would get into a fighting stance, clapping both of his hands together. A QB-like orange glow would appear around him. This was Naruto activating KCM-1. Naruto would then activate his Dojutsu in his right eye and his Sharingan in his left. He was ready to fight. Although his Sharingan is in its 3 Tomoe right now, and his Dojutsu is just normal right now. But with that being said, Naruto would rush in. Now you may be asking, where is Sasuke, right? Well, pretty simple. He's hiding. He's waiting for Naruto to basically do some damage. They think that Naruto's the only one there. And basically, they might be able to get and catch a few members off guard by seeing Sasuke of all people. As maybe you do know this, maybe you don't, but they wanted to get Sasuke out of Orochimaru's hands for a very long time. And now that Sasuke's there, some of the members might be, a bit surprised and they could catch them off guard. And it would kind of work. So basically, Naruto would take out a few Akatsuki members pretty quickly. Now, his strength is immense right now, and the Akatsuki members who he's specifically going to take down go as follows, and these are just Akatsuki members who's going to take down with ease. So, Kakuzu, I see him taking down Kakuzu with pretty much ease and basically putting him into a combo, move, and by that I basically mean he's I guess you could call it bum rushing, if you will, Kakuzu, and making sure that he can't even recover. This would also, be a much quicker fight than any of the other ones because Naruto's very focused on defeating Kakuzu. As you may know, Naruto and Sasuke's clones went into the Akatsuki kind of, and here I want to explain what they were able to figure out, or a little bit more that they were able to figure out. They were able to figure out that Kakuzu was immortal as well as the fact that Hidan was immortal. This is important because they have different immortalities. Hidan's immortality is kind of like, immortality, and Kakuzu's is weird. He can kill people and then use their hearts to basically, as lives. It's kind of hard to explain, but I hope you guys understand that. But with that being said, I do see Naruto knowing this since his clone knew it, right? And he's basically trying to get rid of Kakuzu, who he knows he can actually kill, if you will, and he's basically just using his sword and things of the sort and stabbing into Kakuzu before he can even pull out the hearts for their chakra nature jutsus and all that sort of stuff. And basically his next target would be Zetsu. Zetsu is powerful, don't get me wrong. He is very strong. How strong? Sure, he's Kage level. I'm not going to deny that too much. But besides that, my apologies for the sniffle. He's not that strong. Maybe it's just me, but like he's not that strong. He's decently strong, but not that strong. So he's getting like one shot by Naruto with an Odama Rasengan, right? After that, Naruto's next target would be none other than Konan. Naruto would rush towards Konan with a Rasengan. Luckily for Konan, though, she was watching. She was watching Naruto's moves, how powerful he was, and everything of the sort. So she had a bit of a gauge to not underestimate Naruto and would create a shield out of paper. The shield would be blocked, basically, by Sasuke, who would step in. All the Akatsuki members would be in shock, as Naruto would be able to land the Rasengan, hitting Konan point blank in the face. This would numb Konan for a minute, but Naruto knew that Konan was no slouch, and he needed to take care of all of the Akatsuki. If, for example, he left one alive and, one could, start up a new Akatsuki, he would still be in danger. His friends would still be in danger. So he gathered all of his strength into his sword, his Kyuubi chakra and all, and would then basically cut into Konan, and Konan would die. Now, maybe you feel like I'm overhyping Naruto and his strength, but just think about it this way. Now, the Kakazu kill, if you will, like Naruto killing Kakazu, I think you guys can understand that, how he was able to, he had intel on Kakazu, but not only that, but he has intel on all the Akatsuki members here. Heavy intel. He was technically in the Akatsuki. That's why it's even more surprising for Naruto to be here, because they thought that Naruto was in the Akatsuki, even though, yeah. But with that being said, Naruto not only knows intel on them, but he also knows their moves, their skill set, and things they're good at, things they're bad at least to a degree. Some members he doesn't know about because, a low-ranking member of the Akatsuki, like his clone, and Sasuke's clone, can't really know too much, but they can know enough, right? But with that being said, they weren't too low-ranking, but they were just, fast ranking, if that makes sense. They were rising up in the charts, to say the least. But with that being said, they know a lot. Now, even though this may not be the case, and Konan's not weak, Naruto's powerful, right? My point is that I'm trying to make is that Naruto, when he was about to slam the Rasengan into Konan, Sasuke blocked. This created surprise in everybody there, even somebody who's calm and collected, like Pain/Nagato, whatever you want to call him, right? Now, we then take the fact that Konan was also surprised. Now she's off guard just a little bit, right? Naruto takes advantage of that blind spot / that time he has to land a perfect blow, as he would. Naruto then powers his blade with all of his chakra, that being his Kyuubi chakra as well, and kills Konan with the blade. I see no reason why he's not able to do this. If you disagree and just, think this can't be true, this can't happen, well, sure. But it's happening here. But with that being said, there are still a few members of the Akatsuki that they had to deal with, and Naruto is now running a bit low on chakra. Now, maybe you do remember this, maybe you don't remember this, but in a part or two ago, I explained Naruto and Sasuke's abilities, and I'll just go over Naruto's abilities real quick. Advanced Perception, the ability to slightly see into the future. The Byakugan's Gentle Fist, the Byakugan's Rotation. Advanced Genjutsu on par with the Ketsuryugan and Rinnegan. Access to Fire Release, Wind Release, Water Release, Earth Release, and Lightning Release, or all 5 chakra natures. The ability to manipulate light, like being able to create light kunai and stuff like that. The Sharingan, which Orochimaru had given Naruto, and 2 Mangekyo abilities. The first being the ability to stop time for 10 seconds, and the ability to activate blue flames. Not only that, but KCM 1 and 2, his ancient Dojutsu, as well as the fact that he has the Rasen Chidori, just in case things get rough. And he has 1 jutsu that will basically get him out of any situation. Well, not all situations, but you get my point. Which is basically a technique called light substitution, or at least Naruto says that's the, technique's name. And I might give another name for it later on. Somebody might say it, Don't worry about it. But with that being said, it basically causes Naruto to become light itself for a short period of time, though it is very chakra taxing. Anyhow, those are some of Naruto's abilities. Sasuke kind of scales to that, so you can, infer Sasuke's abilities, or you can just go watch the part. I would just suggest doing that. But I will go over Sasuke's abilities a little bit. He has advanced lightning style, advanced kenjutsu, genjutsu, and taijutsu. He also has advanced ninjutsu, of course, and not only that, but he has his eagle summoning and snake summoning still around because, well, Awoba's not dying because he never fought Deidara. Not only that, but he also has a master Chidori completely, with barely any drain, able to use it 15 times per day, and that's due to the fact that he has Senju blood within him, so he has a lot more chakra in general. Not only that, but he has Mangekyo himself, so yeah. But with that being said, they're both powerhouses. And if you still don't think Naruto could do it, like, beat Conan so easily, well, I guess that's that. But with that being said, Naruto would then rush for his next target, that being Zetsu, like I explained before, and he would basically stomp Zetsu pretty easily. Now, Naruto would decide that he needs to take out at least 3 more Akatsuki members, and then Sasuke can do the rest with, like, a bit of help from him, right? And so, his 3 would be, at least who he was, like, aiming to kill, if you will. They would be Pain, right? Hidan, or slash Hidan, and Obito. Now, these are also the 3 who are actually, running around besides Kisame. Now, Sasuke is going around making sure everybody's, like, dead, if you will, because now all the Akatsuki members, besides the ones that Naruto's about to attack, are dead, and Kisame, of course, as Naruto would then launch one of his most taxing jutsus. Actually hits his main most taxing jutsu, even though he's mastered it. He can, even with his Senju and Uzumaki DNA combined, or I guess you could say chakra, since it's kind of hard to explain. With that being said, even with that, factored in, he can only use this jutsu about 3 times, as he would then yell out, Rasen Chidori. Itachi would immediately sense the sheer and massive amount of chakra within this attack, as the rest of the Akatsuki would brace for impact except for Pain. Kisame would also be caught in the crossfire of this attack, basically the remnants of it, but would basically just hold Samehada in front of him just in case any chakra came towards him, as Pain would yell out Almighty Push. This Almighty Push was not enough for him, or at least was not enough for them to stop the attack, because it was a fake attack. Naruto is very smart, especially in this timeline. He's even smarter than he is in canon. And he knows that the Akatsuki could probably have a skill that would be able to, just like completely evade his own attack. So he thought about it. He knew what would work, what couldn't work, right? So in the case, where some Akatsuki member is able to neglect his attack, since he does know that Kisame has a Samehada, maybe Kisame steps in the way, that was actually the clone jutsu. Now, the clone is an illusion. You get that keyword, illusion. So it can't actually do anything. That wasn't going to do anything. That's my point. And he now used the actual jutsu. This means that Pain's 5-second window is, well, useless. Since the 5 window was there, that 5-second window, Naruto was able to slam the Rasen Chidori into all of them, and all of them would die except for Pain and Kisame, as well as Hidan. So, and Itachi. Now, that is a lot of people, right? But the problem here is that Kisame is immortal. Now, 3 seconds have passed since the initial time. Naruto, seeing everybody here alive, would basically decide to use one more Rasen Chidori. Now, this would put him at 2 down, and it would leave him with about 33% of his chakra. Maybe he could, rejuvenate himself with Kurama's chakra. So basically, he would launch one more Rasen Chidori, which would annihilate Hidan. Now, okay, he has immortality, right? But if he's, just broken down to the atomic level, I don't think that he can survive, at least in my personal opinion. But besides my personal opinion, he's going to die. Now, I don't think Itachi's dying here, and I don't think Kisame's dying here, as well as Obito. Now, those 3 remain. Everybody else is dead. Kisame's alive because his sword literally absorbs chakra. Now, Itachi's alive because, well, yeah. And Obito's alive because he warped himself into the Kamui dimension. Obito would then pull both Itachi and Hisame into the Kamui dimension as he would appear in front of Naruto and Sasuke. As he would then crack his knuckles, asking if Naruto and Sasuke truly wanted to fight him. Naruto and Sasuke would both nod their heads as Obito would smirk under his mask, activating his Sharingan. Well then, come at me, young Uchiha, because I am Mother Uchiha. And that would be a big shocker than Naruto and Sasuke, but with that being said, of course, it's not actually Madara, and yeah, this is going to be where I'm going to end the part. I think this is pretty long enough. It's like 30 minutes, I believe, or something like that, maybe 20-something, 25, I don't know, 24, I don't know. Anyhow, if you guys all enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Subscribe if you're new here, as I want to hit 14,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Currently, I don't know what I actually want to hit, because my goal was 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, or 10,000 subscribers by the end of September. And, I don't know. I guess I'll just have to think about that for a little bit. But with that being said, if you guys all enjoyed, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Check out my second channel down below, where I also post what ifs and discussion videos. And, yeah, Rami X.